Section 2 of Selected Works, Letters, Sketches and Stories by Voltairine de Cleyre. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Chain Gang of Selected Works, Letters, Sketches and Stories by Voltairine de Cleyre. It is far, far down in the Southland, and I am back again, thanks be, in the land of wind and snow, where life lives. But that was in the days when I was a wretched thing, that crept and crawled, and shrunk when the wind blew, and feared the snow. So they sent me away down there to the world of the sun, where the wind and the snow are afraid. And the sun was kind to me, and the soft air that does not move lay around me, like folds of down, and the poor creeping life in me winked in the light and stared out at the wide caressing air, stared away to the north, to the land of wind and rain, where my heart was, my heart that would be at home. Yes, there in the tender south, my heart was bitter and bowed, for the love of the singing wind and the throat whose edge was death, bitter and bowed for the strength to bear that was gone, and the strength to love that abode. Day after day I climbed the hills with my face to the north and home. And there, on those southern heights, where the air was resin and balm, there smote on my ears the sound that all the wind of the north can never sing down again, the sound I shall hear till I stand at the door of the lost silence. Cling, clang, cling, from the Georgian hills it sounds, and the snow and the storm cannot drown it, the far-off terrible music of the chain gang. I met it there on the road, face to face with all the light of the sun upon it. Do you know what it is? Do you know that every day men run in long procession upon the road they build for others safe and easy going, bound to a chain, and that other men, with guns upon their shoulders, ride beside them, with orders to kill if the living links break? There stretched before me a serpent of human bodies, bound to the iron and wrapped in the merciless folds of justified cruelty. Clang, cling, clang, there was an order given, the living chain divided. Groups fell to work upon the road, and then I saw and heard a miracle. Have you ever, out of a drowsy, lazy conviction that all knowledges, all arts, all dreams are only patient sums of many toils of many millions dead and living, suddenly started into an uncanny consciousness that knowledges and arts and dreams are things more real than any living being ever was, which suddenly reveal themselves, unasked and unawaited, in the most obscure corners of soul life, flashing out in prismatic glory to dazzle and shock all your security of thought, toppling it with vague questions of what is reality, that you cannot silence. When you hear that an untaught child is able, he knows not how, to do the works of the magicians of mathematics, has it never seemed to you that suddenly all books were swept away, and there before you stood a superb, sphinx-like creation, mathematics itself, posing problems to men whose eyes are cast down, and all at once, out of whim, incorporating itself in that wide-eyed, mysterious child? Have you ever felt that all the works of the masters were swept aside in the burst of a singing voice, unconscious that it sings, and that music itself, a master presence, has entered the throat and sung? No, you have never felt it, but you have never heard the chain gang sing. Their faces were black and brutal and hopeless, their brows were low, their jaws were heavy, their eyes were hard. 300 years of the scorn that brands had burned its scar upon the face and form of ignorance, ignorance that had sought dully, stupidly, blindly, and been answered with that pitiless brand. But wide beyond the limits of Hymen and his little scorn, the great, sweet, all-music soul, the chords of the world, smote through the black man's fibre in the days of the making of man, and it sings with its ever-thrumming strings through all the voices of the chain gang, and never one so low that it does not fill with a humming vibrancy that quivers and bursts out singing things always new and new and new. I heard it that day. The leader struck his pick into the earth, and for a moment whistled like some wild, free, living flute in the forest. Then his voice floated out, like a low booming wind, crying an instant and fell. There was the measure of a grave in the fall of it. Another voice rose up and lifted the dead note aloft, like a mourner raising his beloved with a kiss. It drifted away to the hills and the sun. Then many voices rolled forward, like a great plunging wave, in a chorus never heard before, perhaps never again, for each man sang his own song as it came, yet all blent. The words were few, simple, filled with a great plaint. The wail of the sea was in it, and no man knew what his brother would sing, yet added his own without thought, as the rhythm swept on, and others knew what note its fellow voice would sing, yet they fell in one another as the billow falls in the trough, or rose to the crest, one upon the other, one within the other, over, under, all in the great wave, and now one led and others followed. Then it dropped back and another swelled upward, and every voice was soloist and chorister, and never one seemed conscious of itself, but only to sing out the great song. And always as the voices rose and sank, the axes swung and fell, and the lean white face of a man with a gun looked on with a stolid paralyzed smile. Oh, that wild sombre melody, that long appealing plaint with its hope laid beyond death, that melody that was made only there just now before me, and passing away before me. If I could only seize it, hold it, stop it from passing, that all the world might hear the song of a chain gang, might know that here, in these red Georgian hills, convicts, black, brutal convicts, are making the music that is of no man's compelling, that floods like the tide and ebbs away like the tide, and will not be held, and is gone, far away and forever, out into the abyss where the voices of the centuries have drifted and are lost. Something about Jesus and a lamp in the darkness, a gulfing darkness. Oh, in the mass of sunshine must they still cry for light, all around the sweep and the glory of shimmering ether. Sun, sun, a world of sun, and these still calling for light. Sun for the road, sun for the stones, sun for the red clay, and no light for this dark living clay. Only heat that burns and blaze that blinds, but does not lift the darkness. And lead me to that lamp. The pathetic prayer for light went trembling away, out into the luminous gulf of day, and the axes swung and fell, and the grim dry face of the man with a gun looked on with its frozen smile. So long as they sing, they work, said the smile, still and ironical. A friend to them that's got no friend, men of sorrows, lifted up unto Golgotha, in the day when the forces of the law and the might of social order set you there, in the moment of your pain and desperate accusation against heaven, when that piercing Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani went up to a deaf sky, did you presage this desolate appeal coming to you out of the unlived depths of 1900 years? Hopeless hope that cries to the dead, futile pleading that the cup may pass, while still the lips drink, for as of old order and the law in shining helmets and gleaming spears ring round the felon of Golgotha, so stands they still in that lean merciless figure, with its shouldered gun and passive smile. And the moan that died within the place of skulls is born again in this great dark cry rising up against the sun, if but the living might hear it, not the dead. For these are dead who walk about with vengeance and despite within their hearts, and scorn for things dark and lowly, in the odour of self-righteousness, with self-vaunting wisdom in their souls, and pride of race, and iron-shod order, and the preservation of things that are. Walking stones are these that cannot hear, but the living are those who seek to know, who wot not of things lowly or things high, but only of things wonderful, and who turn sorrowfully from things that are, hoping for things that may be. If these should hear the chain gang chorus, seize it, make all the living hear it, see it. If from among themselves one man might find the lamp, lift it up, paint for all the world these Georgian hills, these red sunburned roads, these toiling figures with their rhythmic axes, these brutal, unillumined faces, dull, groping, death-covered, and then unloose that song upon their ears, till they feel the smitten, quivering hearts of the sons of music beating against their own, and under and over and around it the chain that the dead have forged, clinking between the heartbeats. Clang, cling, clang. It is sundown. They are running over the red road now. The voices are silent. Only the chain clings. End of the chain gang.